Okay, let's take a look at simplifying exponents, and we're going to use some of the exponent laws. So, looking at this first one, right, I want to first simplify inside the parentheses before I do anything with this cube outside. So, what I know here is that I got -4, nothing's going to change there, but you can add these together, right, because it's really like 3x's and 4x's. So, you add them together, you got 3 plus 4, x to the 7th. Okay, next I'm going to distribute the cube to both terms. So I got -4 cubed. And then if I do it here, it's just going to be x to the 7 times 3. Okay, so this is going to become -4 cubed is going to become -64. And then we have x to the 21st power. Okay, and in this case, there's nothing more I can simplify here, so I would be done with this first one. Okay, so let's just rewrite that 21 here. There we go. So -64 x to the 21st power. Next one, we got 3 cubed times 3 to the -6. Well, right away when I see that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that 3 to the -6 and write it down in the denominator. So now I have a fraction. Okay, and we know that this property says that 3 minus 6 would actually give us 3 to the -3, or we could write this as 1 over 3 cubed. Okay, and 3 cubed is just 27. So now we've simplified this and we're done here. On to the next one. Okay, down here, this one looks a little strange, right? But if you write these as fractions, you can take that negative exponent. Now it becomes positive in the denominator. So we're going to do that for both of these. And then we're going to have this -1 outside. We'll deal with that last. Okay, so if I rewrite this once, I have 1/8 plus 1/16, right, to the -1. Okay, well, how could I rewrite that so I could combine these two fractions? Well, I need the same denominator, right? So this one has 8, this one has 16, so I'm just going to rewrite this as 2/16 plus 1/16 to the -1. Okay, I'm going to add those together. Remember, you just add right across the top. 3/16 to the -1. Well, how do I get rid of that -1? I just flip this fraction, and now I have my final answer. So we're going to get 16 divided by 3, and now we've successfully simplified what looked kind of complicated at the beginning, but it's actually not too bad. Okay, let's do this next one over here on the right. So we're going to distribute the cube again, and so that means we're going to have 3 cubed. Right, so we're going to have this by itself, and then we're going to have x to the -2 divided by 9 to the 3rd power. Okay, so we'll deal with that in a second. First of all, 3 cubed is going to give us 27, and then this, we're just going to multiply, right? It's really like 3 over 1, so -2 times 3 is going to give us -6 over 9. And we could simplify this fraction here, so we get x to the -2 over 3. Or if you really want to be proper, you could write that x as a positive exponent in the bottom here in the fraction. Okay, so this is a fine answer. I would actually just stop here. But you could also write it this way. And occasionally you might see an answer key written where they would have this form, which is the cubic root of x squared. Okay, this is just another way to write x to the 2/3. Okay, moving on to the last one here. So the last one, there's a little more to do here. But what I suggest doing is simplifying inside the fraction first, and then we'll worry about the -3. Okay, so if we simplify inside here, right, I'm going to first start out with, I got y to the 5th, and I'm going to bring that x to the -5 down to the bottom. Okay, so that's going to be x to the 4th was already there, and now it's times x to the 5th. We're going to add those in a second. And then we still have y, and we're to the net power of -3. Okay, so these are going to get added together in the denominator. And then the y to the 5th minus y, because this is y to the 1st power, right? That's going to become 3y to the 4th. Okay, and then down here we have 2x to the power of 9. Okay, now we still have this -3 outside here. And so what's best to do here is just flip the fraction, and then we'll make that 3 positive. We'll have a positive cube, and then we can go ahead and simplify everything and distribute from there. So we get 2x to the 9th. Now we take the denominator, bring it up, and down here we have 3y to the 4th. And now, since we've flipped the fraction, we can have a positive cube here. Okay, so the last step here, or the last part, is to distribute the cube. So we get 2 cubed, and then these are just going to multiply by the exponent. So 9 times 3 is going to give us 27. And down here we have 3 cubed, which is 27. And then we're going to have y to the 4 times 3, which is going to be 12. So I just didn't simplify this here. So we're going to have 8x to the power of 27 over 27 y to the power of 12. And now we've simplified this as much as we can, so we are done with this one.